This is Senator Gill, and this is the People's Perspective. Today we have two guests who are leaders in making our communities safer for bicyclists and pedestrians. We have Paul Mickiewicz from Bike and Walk Montclair. Paul supports bike and walk friendly culture as a key to mobility, equity, and community health. We also have Debra Kagan, Director of New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition. Debra has worked on New Jersey safe passage law and is an experienced leader and advocate for bicycle and pedestrian safety, as well as social environmental justice issues. So we'd like to start off today, nice spring day. Maybe Debra, could you tell us about New Jersey's new safety passage law, which I supported, and why it's so important for our communities?
Yes, I'd be happy to. And first, let me thank you so much for your support in the legislation for this passing what is the strongest safe passing law in the country. So we're very excited about that. The law did pass this past summer and went into effect March 1st. And it really is a law that's designed to help us reduce fatalities and serious injuries on the road. And it lays out a guideline for how drivers should react when we see what we call vulnerable road users, people on the road who are either walking, bicycling, scooting, maybe in a wheelchair, people who are on the road legally, who are not in cars. So the law lays out guidelines, and what's behind all of them is that cars should pass people on the road with caution. It says you have to first of all, follow all the existing speeding laws, and you move over a lane if you can, if there's a lane to move over to when you see somebody on the road. And if you're in a single lane, then the driver has to slow down and have at least 4 feet, a safety zone between the car and the vulnerable road user, 4 feet in order to pass. And if you can't pass with 4 feet of a safety zone, then you have to slow down to 25 miles per hour, and you have to be prepared to stop until you can safely pass without injuring somebody on the road. So these are new instructions for drivers. They're very clear on what we should be doing when we see somebody on the road. And it's a really important tool for us to start reducing the very severe number of fatalities and serious injuries, especially in the last year that we have experienced here in New Jersey.
Now, Paul, we know that we have the New Jersey safe laws, but what other things do you advocate to make the road safer for bike riding and pedestrians?
Sure. Thank you for that question. And, it really comes down to two things. A big one is following road law, traffic law. And that's not just following the law because it's the right thing to do, but because that helps us become predictable. Motorists need to know what we're doing on a bike. And sometimes our behavior doesn't communicate that well. So when we follow the rules of the road, we're predictable. We want to be really visible. Obviously, we want to wear helmets. But if you have a bright helmet like this, then even if your clothing is kind of dark, like this shirt I'm wearing, the helmet really brightens things up. I like to include lights. So being visible, being predictable, and being courteous. Those are the 3 simple messages we like to get out there. Again, the visibility is not just being bright, but it's where we position ourselves, where we ride, and that's probably the most counterintuitive part. But being predictable and following road laws, traffic signals, things like that, riding on the right side of the road with traffic, not against traffic, those kinds of things. And then the courteous part is really, we all need to be more courteous and cooperate and signal and basically cooperate with the motorists that are out there. We want them to cooperate with us, and so we have to do the same thing.
Do you hold classes on bike riding and safety? Bike.
Absolutely. Yes, we do. As a
Can you
matter
tell
of
us a
fact,
bit
I've got
about
a sure. I'm doing a smart cycling class. I had to reschedule from this past Sunday that had snow to this coming Sunday that's not going to be as warm as today, but it's a great program and it teaches people. We have a classroom, so we talk about strategies and crash stats and why things are dangerous or what makes things dangerous, how to fix those, how to get around them. And then we have a parking lot session where we go over bike handling skills, and then we take it all out onto the road and we take a road ride and we stop along the way, examining different features, and then we discuss our strategy and we one by one go through those features, and people come away with really empowered to feel like they can ride anywhere. And that is actually this Sunday. And then we will continue starting in April. We have a league certified instructor workshop that's happening, so we'll be training new instructors, and then we will be doing classes every weekend for months. Learn to ride classes, skill building, smart cycling, and then just our fun social rides.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's very important because you think the drivers have rules of the road, but to also instruct the bike riders on their responsibility for rules for the road. Deborah, what do you think about the Greenway project? What does that? How does that play into the safety and the biking habits?
It's a critical part of looking at what is an overall smart and equitable transportation system for our state. The New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition has been leading the outreach on the Essex Greenway project, which is going to start or terminate in Montclair and runs through 8 towns in our region to Jersey City. So being able to provide safe off-road places for people to bike and walk is a really important part of building our active transportation network. To have places where we can go not only for exercise, for our health, but also that connects our communities safely so that we can be using biking and walking to get to work, to get to school, to go shopping in other communities. We need to be building out these greenways and structures so that we are using our cars less, not only for our personal health, but for our community health. It reduces, in New Jersey alone, about 42% of pollution comes from transportation and from cars. And that's just we have a tremendous problem. So we've got goals that the governor has set for greenhouse gas emission reduction. And in order to do that, there's been a lot of talk of electrification of cars, but we also have to reduce the number of miles that we drive, the time that we're in the car. And in order to do that, we have to provide safe and accessible and equitable places for people to walk and bike and use other modes of transportation besides getting in their cars. So the greenways are a very important part of looking at that strategic approach to making the transportation system sustainable and safe and equitable. So we're very excited to be part of the Essex Greenway project. The governor has identified it as going to be the crown jewel of the New Jersey State Parks. So we're looking forward to that moment when we can cut the ribbon. And it also, another interesting thing, and here in Montclair, this has started this conversation. It brings up the conversation about how to access the trail network, or the Essex Greenway in this case, safely from our town. So how do we get from the trail to our business centers, like in Montclair on Bluefield out, where tourists and people who are using the trail or coming in can come into the town, spend some money, buy their coffee and their lunch, right? Go to movies, do some shopping.
If they have a basket on their bike, they could buy a lot of things besides money and coffee. Do you think there's a all over benefit, something that is kind of transformative in, Paul, in biking, in bringing the community together as a community event or safety?
Well, I'm glad you frame it that way, because really I feel like the bicycle is part of the fix that just about most of our big problems. Health, getting to healthy food. We can expand our range. We don't have to have a motor vehicle. Motor vehicles are expensive to own, maintain, keep operational. Bicycles are very inexpensive, and it builds in activity. So after many years working in the health and fitness field with the Y, I'm sad to say that the chronic illness has just been increasing for years, and it's not getting any better. And part of the fix is getting more physical activity. And I think we have to just bake it into our day, into our lifestyle. And some of the comments I hear from some of our new learner riders, what they enjoy the most, you get to feel the wind in your face. It just is great for our mental health. It is really a great way to get around. You meet people, you smell the beautiful restaurants. You have a very different experience driving through a neighborhood on your bike.
And I'm really committed to having more young children and young adults bike riding. Remember, everybody used to at least get a bike for Christmas or Hammy, but then if we can also encourage that. But I wonder, what would you say, Debra, are the best tips for people to be safe when biking or walking? Would you like to give them some advice?
Well, I'm going to let Paul answer this one because he is our expert on bike education. So I'm going to give him this one.
Okay.
Well, thank you. So again, what we like to remind people is to follow the predictability of traffic law. So that means riding in the same direction as motor vehicles. We want to be visible. We want to position ourselves. Unfortunately, some of the things that are reflexes that people have to stay far to the right, way on the edge of the road, because they feel like they're safer there, it actually makes them less prominent, and motorists just don't even see them. And they see this space ahead that's open. So when we move out into the lane, in lanes that are too narrow to share with a motorist, it actually makes us safer. So that's one of the toughest strategies we have to employ. But we want to be visible, we want to be predictable, following traffic law, and we want to be courteous. So we want to communicate. And if we see some people, we have some motorists maybe piling up behind us, we just want to find a spot, a safe spot to pull over, slow down a little bit, give them a little wave, go, 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 and then get back in there and everyone's happy. But it really does mean, paying attention and having a good relationship with the motorists out
there. And we are... Go ahead, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, as part of this, what Paul is bringing up is we need to get out there with education and awareness for drivers about some of the things. Many people don't know it's legal to share the road. I'd be riding my bike and I'll get some honking behind saying, get off the road or get over. And the fact is that bicyclists have the legal right to share the road. So we are actually doing a awareness education campaign around the safe passing lane. We've started that campaign. We're going to launch it in May, which is National Bike Month. So we'll have lots of material that we'll be sharing to get the word out, because we know that it's not going to be effective unless people are aware.
And I like your Okay. No, please.
I'm sorry, just going to say I'm going to be offering a class on Wednesday night. So starting in April, every Wednesday night, I'll be leading a bike education class and a bike-friendly driver education class on the fourth Wednesday of the month. So every Wednesday thanks to New Jersey Bike Walk Coalition, I'll be leading a program at 7 p.m. that anyone can join in. So we'll be sharing that on the website.
And the location?
The location is online. The location is right online, right on the computer.
Okay. Well, I think one thing that's especially important is this idea of sharing the road. You know, this idea that the drivers have to also understand we have to share the road. And I think that can bring about some mutual kind of respect for the person on the bike as well as the driver. Yes, we have to share this earth, we have to share this road, and I think that's vitally important. Well, I'd like to thank our guests for joining us. It's nice outside. Take your bike out. Remember the rules of the road, and remember ultimately that we have to share these roads together. And I thank both of you for the work and the advocacy you have done to make our communities healthier and safer for all of us. So thank you very much. I'm Senator Gill, and this is The People's Perspective. Thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.